Okay, I'll start by introducing.
All right, good. Thank you.
All right, so I see we're already live. Good afternoon, everybody. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all into this session of our 12th International Conference for Teachers of English Language Teaching during COVID-19. Today, I have the honor to introduce LILIKA COURI, who is a teacher, educator, and EFL school management consultant in Greece and abroad. She is co-director of educational and training concepts and has co-authored EFL teaching books. She is a founding member of TESOL Greece and of the Greek Fulbright Alumni Association. She has served on the boards of both volunteer associations and is the 2020-2021 chair of TESOL Greece. With you, LILIKA COURI.
Thank you, Tevin. I guess it is correct. Thank you, and it is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you all. And the only regret is that I'm not there. I would have loved that. I would like to thank Gloria Ulloa for her invitation. And I have to say that it was quite a surprise when I received the email from Honduras to participate in the conference. I believe that you had a beautiful beginning with the conference. We just finished attending Dr. Klin's plenary talk, and it's kind of a coincidence. I didn't even know her, so we have not even tried to share notes or something, but she's been talking about the teachers and the learners. Well, I'll be talking about the parents and the children and the learners. And I'm glad that I am talking about them because I noticed that nobody else talks about the parents at your conference, and this has happened in at most conferences in the world. So thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really happy, even online, to be part of your conference. And again, I'm honored. And I'm going to share now my PowerPoint, and please stay there and be ready to collaborate with me, because I am the kind of person who is interactive, and I need to have your responses and so on. Okay. Another coincidence with Dr. Kling was that I decided, I felt that it was important to just send you some greetings from my country as well. Well, so I took a photograph about an hour or so before you were to start. And here's the Acropolis right now. I live in Athens. And I went down to the corner of my street and I took the photograph because I can see the Acropolis from my street, and it's lighted and it sends you regards and best wishes for your conference. But I decided, well, it is right now, it's 10:35 p.m. in Greece. And most people are watching Netflix. Okay, so we're going to start with an activity. I always start with an activity, and it's going to be a kind of an interactive activity, and so get ready. I'd like you to look around your room, wherever you are right now. Look around your room and take note of everything you see that is red. So I'm going to give you some seconds to look around your room and notice anything that is red. Now close your eyes and mentally review what you saw Then open them again and recheck the red things to make sure. Okay. If you now I want you to use the chat box and I want you to write all the things you saw that were yellow. Don't cheat, don't look and check. Write down what is yellow. And use the chat box so I can just see. Nothing. The glue stick, okay? A toy, marker, a mug, a plant pot. No idea, no idea. Flowers, thank you, Gloria. Good, okay, well, a box, nothing. Right, well, this is an important technique. It's called the obliteration technique. And you can use it with your students. It is quite important and it's quite useful, as a matter of fact. It helps us realize that how many things and thoughts we obliterate when we focus completely on an idea, an instance, an approach, a situation, a way, and so on. And once we do this, this narrows down our perception to such a degree that we really forget the rest of the world around us. And the rest of the world is kind of shut out. Now, this is, in many ways, this is how we have reacted to the pandemic, the lockdowns, and whatever has followed. And that's why I used it right now, because if we really take seconds, we will realize that we really, rightfully, of course, we were justified to do this because the pandemic was something completely new for us. For some of us who've lived long enough, as I have, it was one more international world event which was tragic, like the Second World War and things like that. Okay, as educators, of course, we took a deep breath and we refocused, and our main interest were, since then have been remote teaching or hybrid teaching in some cases, or blended teaching, and the various ways, the techniques, apps, and so on and so forth. Our main focus has been, since March 2020, the learners and the teachers. And for some of us who have been chairs of associations like the TESOL International and all the affiliates, TESOL Greece, that I happen to be the chair of TESOL Greece at the time of the first lockdown, that was our focus. A major group has been left out, the parents, a very important group in all this process, one of the stakeholders in whatever we educators have been trying to do, because it's not just the learners, it's their parents as well. So I know that we are talking now about an almost 2-year, well, actually a 2-year period. In about 5 days, it's going to be a 2-year period. Because it's going to be March 11th when everything, just about everything locked down, at least in Europe. I don't know, in other countries, each country has its own different anniversaries, lockdown anniversaries. But I'd like us to look a bit more closely at what happened since March 2020. what I would like to really discuss, because this is my thesis today, is how we can guide, support, engage, and inspire the parents of our learners. So we started with a phrase that will stay, like some other historical sentences or phrases in history: stay at home. That's what we were all told, and our world turned upside down. But at first, I don't know, you will think about it if it happened to you, but it did happen to most of us. At first, it felt like summer holidays. Summer holidays in March, we could lounge and watch television and, sleep late, eat whenever we wanted, wear our pajamas or our, all of this. Oh, it was so good at the beginning. That's how parents felt for a little while. For how long? As long as it took us, the teachers, to regroup as quickly as we could and start the online teaching. Whether it was right or wrong online teaching or whatever, governments announced online teaching, and that's exactly what we did. And then the vacation, the summer holidays for parents and everybody else were forgotten. But then immediately an avalanche of suggestions and programs, not just by educators, by everybody else, psychologists, psychiatrists, sociologists, all these life coaches, that the world has been filled with. And I don't know what they actually are doing, because in actuality, what they are trying to do is what psychologists and psychotherapists are doing, and psychiatrists. But I guess it's much more in to say that you have your life coach as opposed to saying that you go to a psychiatrist. And I know some life coaches will get angry at me if they're listening, but really, I do not mind at all. So, suggestions. And programs about how children, teenagers, and all of them should occupy themselves at home, and the do's and the don'ts, and parents at a loss because they really didn't know what to do, because everybody was telling them what they should do, or if they didn't say it, it came at them in such a way, and they felt that all responsibility fell upon them. Now, I know that some of you are parents, and I would like you to keep responding and reacting to what I'm saying as parents and not as educators, or both, but allow the parent to come out into the front, because we made you feel guilty. And we placed too much responsibility upon parents. This guilt started piling up, this anxiety. Now, Dr. Clayton talked about anxiety, the anxiety of the learners, the anxiety of the teachers, the anxiety of the parents was and has been worse, because we must understand what has happened. These people have their children, one child, two children, how many? But they were used to getting up in the morning, getting them ready, taking them to school, parking them there for some time, then taking the kids at around 1:30, 2:33, whatever, back home, lunch, whatever. Then in the afternoon, there were all these other programs, these additional extracurricular activities and so on, then homework, and then evening. They didn't have their children 7-Eleven in the house. And not all houses are huge, with huge rooms and spaces and things like that. And not everybody has a television in each room. and a computer or a laptop or a tablet or whatever in each room. Can you just close your eyes and imagine, if you're not a parent and you didn't live through it, can you close your eyes and imagine what these people have been through? And on top of that, knowing that they have to take care of their children's homeschooling. So eventually, parents started questioning everything. Our remote teaching, they started saying, I mean, are you doing it okay? You should be doing this and so, because you see, this is human nature. You feel repressed, you feel threatened and so on and guilty. Then at some point, you start attacking, fighting, attacking quotation marks, fighting back in a sense. So they started questioning everything, our remote teaching, the government and the World Health Organizations, the measures, the vaccines, everything. Then they started suggesting to the educators, to the teachers, various methods. And at the same time, depression, rebellion took over. And in some cases, these things continue because meanwhile, the fear of the vaccines, the questioning about the vaccines and so on and so forth has taken place. Okay, then. So here we are, and we are here to inform, to guide and support, because yes, the lockdown looked like Picasso's giant spider. I don't know whether he was thinking, I'm sure he was thinking of any horrible thing that can happen to mankind when this is in the Picasso Museum in Malaga, beautiful, beautiful city. Okay, yes, this is how the lockdown was and is for some countries which have partial lockdowns and so on and so forth. Yet, let's try and look at it as a blessing in disguise, because yes, it was horrible and it has been difficult, and the virus is very dangerous and we're not joking about it, but something else started happening, or can happen, or could happen. And this is the family could reinvent itself. All this new brave world, you know, this brave new world that it's not any longer brave new world. We've done a lot of things with climate change and all of these things, but a lot of our family style and everything have taken away a great deal of some of the very stable and very useful family rituals and a lot of the family community. So this, the lockdown, horrible, but at the same time, an opportunity, since we found ourselves all together, an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, an opportunity for quality time and for communication. Because before this, not 7-Eleven, this by going to school, hi, came back from school, eat, then go away, and so on, had taken away this communication. Rediscovering one another, rediscovering our children, our partner, our life partner, rediscovering ourselves, as a matter of fact, and time for parents to discover, apply, and practice one of their major roles. As far as I'm concerned, the most important role, that of manager, coach, and not tutor. Parents, to begin with, must be managers and coaches for themselves. Always, anybody needs to manage himself, herself. But if you are a parent, you must be the manager of your children and of your family. Love, that is an instinct. It's there. Nobody disputes it. But parents, first and foremost, need to be managers. And we teachers do see and understand when a parent is not an effective manager, because then this parent brings to us a child that is totally ineffective in many things. And we need to be also managers. First and foremost, teachers need to be managers to each one of us in our little realm and kingdom, in a sense. Okay, manager, coach, what are the major areas? And this is what I'm talking about today. I'm sorry, I keep slipping and keep it that to say this evening, because by now we're reaching 11 p.m. in Greece, but that's fine. We're all, we sleep late in Greece, really, we do. Okay, what are the major areas? Management and structure, social emotional coaching, entertainment, the entertainment that they will have together as a family, learning, homeschooling, and mindfulness. And that's what I'm going to discuss with you, and in some cases even play a bit around. Okay, management structure. Okay, let's look at it to begin with. What parents needed and need to do, and I'll say something, whether it is lockdown or not, these routines and rituals, because management is keeping routines and rituals. These routines and rituals need to take place constantly. The quarantine, the lockdowns, and all of this fear of the pandemic and everything intensified and underlined this need for management. But it's always there. It's not as if it's going to, let's say, go away once the pandemic is over. And I think they have started telling us that it will not really be over, but anyway, we're not going to go into that. Okay, daily routines during lockdowns or partial lockdowns or everyday life, getting up, breakfast, working at home, studying, and so on. If there is a lockdown again, nobody should be, should be moving around the house wearing the pajamas or whatever. No, get up, get dressed. It's as if we're going to work. These are the routines that are important. These are the routines that keep us in a way full of energy, and they don't bring us down. Study, workspace, the children, now we're talking about their children, they're the managers of their children and themselves. Study or workspace remain the same. In other words, first of all, a child needs to have his or her study space, wherever it is and whatever it is. Doesn't need to be something extremely expensive, or a desk, any desk, a folding table, but that's where the kid studies when he or she comes back home. That's where the books go back, the school bag, and so on and so forth. This is where work takes place. It doesn't take place in the kitchen if the mother is in the kitchen, in the living room if the mother is in the living room, in the, garage if the mother is in the garage. And this is throughout pandemic, lockdown or not lockdown. These are the musts in the management of children. Creating a daily schedule together, whether it is a lockdown or no lockdown. Let's say when the school starts, the parents, I really do prefer to say the parents. I don't like to take the father out of this negotiation and dialogue with children. This is one of our minuses in our family relations. In some cases, there is one of the two parents isn't there. We understand that. But in the cases where both parents are there, it should be taking place with either both of them or either one of them, but alternating, not the mother all the time. I know that mothers actually, they say they hate it, but they crave for it because this makes them the goddesses in the house. Well, would you please come down from your pedestal and let somebody else also take some responsibility, because you complain that the father doesn't take responsibility. But anyway, parents and children should create the child's daily schedule together, allowing the child to make decisions. We're talking about the 21st century skills as if they just appeared in 2015, where the World Forum talked about them. These skills have been all along, taking responsibility, having psychological stamina or resilience, learning to adapt, making decisions. Actually, if you look at the English course books, they're there in our activities. Critical thinking, they say, and problem solving. Just look at any one of our course books. Collaboration and communication. Well, teachers of English started collaborating and communicating or having their learners do so, to my knowledge, in 1975, when pair work started being used. Have you realized that? Go back to your course books, your English course books, English language course books, and look at them and see how many of the competencies of the 21st century have been and are included there. We've been ahead. We just didn't know, we didn't call it resilience, but we've been ahead. We didn't call it collaboration. We called it pair work, group work. That's it. Okay, back to what we're talking about. Okay, these daily schedules, especially during the pandemic and during this online teaching, and whether this online teaching is going to become in person now, you will see it in person is not going to be, the in-person teaching is not going to be again the same in-person teaching we used to have. You will see this because many things have changed, many things. It'll be blended. Yes, as Russell Stannard says. In other words, we will be bringing in technology, not completely. At the beginning, and I'll tell you a big thing, in Greece, in-person teaching started this last September. Everything is in person, and technology now is somewhere in the background. Why? They got sick and tired of technology, but pretty soon they're going to be using it because a number of our activities are done in a better way through technology. So we do create a daily schedule together, not a rigorous one, and one where the child participates and it's a dialogue. And each child draws, decorates his, her schedule, and parents too should create their own daily schedule. Now, I'm going to show you This is the daily schedule of a 9-year-old. She did this, Elena did this last April, and this was her daily schedule, where she used pictures, pexels.com, pictures from the internet, and then said exactly what she needed to do or she had to do. Her homework and studying, doing dishes, helping mother, because you see, this is the whole idea when we're talking about reinventing our family and rediscovering ourselves. Exercise, walking, television, the father at work also, fixing her clothes and so on and so forth. By the way, and this is, we did this online because this way she could consolidate simple present. Every day I do, and so on and so forth. So you can use this in teaching as well, in person, online, whichever way you wish. So the lockdowns have offered us a time for learning and a time for playing. In other words, this is how we started creating our schedule, and this is what parents could do with their children. A time for sleeping, exercising, working, studying, doing house chores. There's a time for everything. And of course, Frida comes to the rescue. The younger children, there's Frida, the easiest puppet that one can make out of a sock and 2 eyes, and that's my friend, and my Frida, which, whenever I wanted to convince my younger learners and the teachers of younger learners as to what they were supposed to be doing, Frida would be used. Why? Because puppet therapy is used a lot by psychiatrists and psychotherapists, because children can relate much more easily to a puppet, and they can transfer their world to the puppet, and then they can tell you, the puppet talks back to you as to what she or he, according to the name they give, wants to do. But you use it too, either as a teacher or parents use it too, and they can also use their own puppet to convince hola, ¿cómo está? Okay, to convince the kid as to what the kid should do. Okay. So she's been very helpful, as a matter of fact. And then, of course, we need to remember that there's a great deal of learning in everyday activities, especially when they are shared. Now, what kind of learning? I'm going to show you, and what I want you to do is I'm going to show you a poster with everyday activities which really do support and encourage learning. And I'd like you to use the chat box and tell me which one you never thought was a learning activity. These are 16 everyday activities that count as learning. Just look at them and see how important they are, all of them. And this is what our children can do at home and at school, but at home, when everybody has to be there. Is there one activity you never thought counted as learning? Yeah, they are all learning, but I'm asking you if there was one that you never thought as learning. cooking and baking. How many of you have children actually? Meal planning, building Legos. Well, no, because when we buy Legos, they say, you know, they are a learning toy, teaching toy, and therefore such and such age and so on. If you have children, how many of you let your children cook? Simple things. I'm not saying, you know, a souffle, but they might. Anyway, sandwiches, eggs, yes. Great. Pamela, I don't have children, nor I have worked with them. The Montessori method. And it's not only the, yes, Pamela, and it's not only the Montessori method that encourages this. There are many, loves painting and playing. Yeah, yes, very good. Okay, right, thank you very much. Non-negotiable as far as management and parents are concerned and their children. Wake up time, bedtime, meal time, and now that in many countries and in many, not all of them probably, and family lunch or dinner, especially at least the ritual. That is the ritual of the family getting together either for Sunday lunch or Sunday dinner, the whole family, all of them together, creating the family community. Now, years ago, it was something that could not be you wouldn't be allowed not to be present at the family dinner or the family lunch. Nobody. And it's amazing what happens around that table. The humor, the joking, the stories, the stories of, you know, the happenings of this day and so on. It's amazing what's happened, and also the social emotional building. In the United States, SEAL, social emotional learning, is really big, and they're right, and it is important, and it helps and supports teachers, learners, and parents together. It is very, very useful, and it is branching out into Europe somehow, but it will, because it is very important. Engage. I'm saying in my summary that I sent, I also asked that we engage parents. Well, this is part of this of the areas that I talked about, the social emotional coaching. Well, we all know that once routines have been disrupted, this creates uncertainty, and children, really both adults and children, felt a lot of uncertainty, but children even more so. Maintained routines and rituals create predictability, security, and have a calming effect. And one of the things that parents cannot show to children is their panic, their fear, their frustration, because children can sense everything. They get scared, they lose stability and their sense of safety. It's normal. They depend on parents. And if they see their father, their mother, or both being scared, frustrated, and almost unable to function as before, then the child totally loses, is frightened tremendously and loses all sense of safety. But Sesame Street has been very helpful, and I would very, very strongly recommend it. And Sesame Street did something great. Throughout these 2 years of the pandemic, they've created all sorts of videos to help our children. So here's Rosita and belly breathing.
Hola. Today, I wanted to go outside and play with Elmo at the park. But my mommy and my papi said that I can't right now. It made me feel really, really frustrated. Do you ever feel frustrated? Or sad or nervous? Yeah? Well, my mommy showed me a way to calm me down whenever I have big feelings or little feelings. It's called belly breathing. Hey, I can show you how to belly breathe. Okay, everyone, put your hands on your belly like this.
You do it.
Now take a deep breath in
Take a
through
deep
your nose
breath.
like this. And slowly breathe out through your mouth like this. It feels good, right? One more time, amigos. Hands on your belly. Slow deep breath into your nose. And slowly breathe out through your mouth like this. Good job. Do you feel better? I sure do. Now remember to use belly breathing every time you feel, frustrated or nervous or sad. Oh, I gotta go. I have a video play date with Elmo. Even though we can't get together, that doesn't mean that we cannot have a play date today. I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Caring for each other. Visit sesamestreet.org/caring for videos.
Hola. Today,
You notice that not only do they show a way to get out of frustration and the breathing in and so on, which is a yoga technique, but there's also the indirect suggestion. We cannot go out, but we can video play. I can be with my friend. Sesame Street helped a lot with their, I don't know, did you use it? Because we tried and used it a lot. Yeah, you love it. I know, Raquel. Yeah, it's great. Okay, do use it. It's got lots and lots of things, and it is both educational, but it is also supportive and in many ways therapeutic. Learning and homeschooling, the important, actually the issue during the lockdowns. Is it the parents' job? Well, or what is the parents' job? Well, their job is to help children feel safe and to do their best with remote, blended, wearing masks, learning, and so on and so forth. It is not to become the children's teachers. This is our job. It is the teacher's job, not the parents, whether it is online or in person. So, because this is what frustrated parents, and certainly they could not become the teachers. As managers, they saw to it that the children would have some time for homework, some time to rest, some time to play, but not to sit down and teach them the way we should. Parents should use emails and teachers to communicate with teachers, and we've been doing this a lot. Also, it's a very good idea to use vocaroo.com because it's very easy, because you can send audio messages. WhatsApp, you can send audio messages as well. One thing that we can help parents understand is that they cannot expect the in-person schedules, nor can they expect the in-person teaching. They should really look for quality and not quantity. Our lessons became shorter. The time we gave to our learners needed to be shorter, and it has to remain shorter. And by the way, I can tell you that what I know is going to change, and it should have changed, but now it's going to change, is all these books that we buy. We will, and that are being published, we will have fewer books. Publishers don't like the idea, but they eventually will have to do it. It is, quality means less time, but actually much, much more effective time. So 1 or 45 minutes of quality lesson is much better than a long, a boring lesson. And also we should guide parents to learn to let children discover or solve the problem themselves, any problem. This is part of the 21st century skills: problem solving, psychological stamina, physical stamina, initiative, building and having initiative. Also, it is our job to help parents understand that they need to help their children develop the skills they will need in order to survive in their world, the children's world, which is changing constantly. If they want, if parents, and these suggestions should come from us, if parents want to see the progress of their child and how is the child developing, especially the younger ones, in the foreign language, and I'm talking about the foreign language all this time, tell them to ask the children to teach them the song they learned today in English, the game they played, the 3-4 new words they learned today, but never to ask it with, what did you learn today? Because usually the answer is nothing. They should just say, well, you know, I think I heard a song, you know, as I was waiting outside, I heard a song, and it did sound good. And the kid really, you know, do you want to teach it to me? Or would you just describe something that happened today, but not what did you learn today? Obviously, they don't feel like learning. Let's remember something. Children learn as they teach. And as Seneca said, while we teach, we learn, and so do children. Inspire, establish, guide them, help them, inspire them to establish rituals. The lockdowns and the pandemic helped us understand how important gratitude is, kindness, sharing, compassion, and celebrating life. So guide them. We can do it at school too. Give them the idea. They could, as a family, they could decide on one thing. Let's say this week it's gratitude week. And so one thing I'm grateful for today or this week, one act of kindness for today, not for the week. I mean, more than one act we should have of kindness for the week. One thing to accept or to let go. We must learn to let go. Make the family's gratitude tree. I'm going to show you one, mine. Or the kindness tree, or the tree of love. Christmas is coming. It could become, the Christmas tree could become the kindness tree, the gratitude tree. Gratitude indeed unlocks our soul and we feel complete. And here's a gratitude tree, just a vase and some branches, and they make the leaves very simple, out of paper. This was made, this is some months ago, with some friends of mine. I asked them to write down, because I wanted it for this talk. I asked them to write down if they feel gratitude, why they felt grateful. So one wrote love, the love she had and the calm she felt. The other one, stamina, and the other one, creativity. Now, Christmas is coming. Instead of leaves, it could be stars. And the family decides together on what they wish, an act of compassion. They write it and they hang it. There's nothing more beautiful than bringing everybody together, close together. And families have really learned a lot about it. Mindfulness, the parents, actually, this is the one thing that they need to do for themselves. They should protect, and you, or those of you who are parents, protect your space, your time, your rest, your hobbies, your interests. If you haven't any, find new ones, you need them. Your daydreaming, never forget to daydream. We used to when we were children. We need to continue daydreaming because that's how we become creative. And this goes out to all of you parents and teachers, colleagues, educators. In this time of crisis, you are your children's most effective vaccine. We need the real vaccine, but parents are the most effective vaccine. You've always been the most effective vaccine. Stay well, stay safe, stay strong. Take care of yourselves. And I used and I adapted a bit a Hebrew proverb. God could not be everywhere. This is why he created parents and teachers. And thank you. Gracias. So.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.